welcome back. Today's video is all about brand new cheek products that are showing up at the drugstore this summer. So I've gotten some blush palettes, some single blushes, a face palette, some highlighters. So I am really excited to get into this and show you some swatches and talk a little bit about each one. I've been wearing them all for about a couple of weeks now, just testing them out. So I'm definitely ready to share my thoughts. So without further ado, let's just jump right in. And the first product I'm going to talk about is from Catrice. I got this when I was on my vacation and I did show it in my haul video recently. It's the California in a Box Bronzer and Blush Palette. Actually, I don't know why they call it Bronzer and Blush Palette because there's actually a highlighter in here too. So it's an overall face palette. And what I love about this one is that it has two blushes. You have your peachy blush, like a warmer tone, and then you have more of a rosy blush. The peachy one is more shimmery, and then the rosy one is matte. You also have two matte bronzers. So one is a little bit on the lighter side and slightly warmer, but it's definitely not orange by any means. And then the other one is a little bit deeper and more of a cooler tone, which would be awesome for contouring, but it's also just one of those beautiful rosy bronzers that I tend to gravitate towards personally because I think they look a little more natural on my skin at least. And then you have this really pretty golden highlight. So I've really been enjoying this palette. I think that the powders are all really soft, really easy to blend. They're not overly pigmented, so you're not going to get crazy clown cheeks or too much product on the brush, but it's just very buildable, which is definitely what I look for when it comes to blushes and bronzers and highlighters. The highlight is more on the subtle side too. It's not one of those crazy, super intense highlighters, but I don't tend to wear those very often. And they also had a few other versions there as well. They had some highlighter palettes as well as like a color correcting palette. I think it was called Filter in a Box. So I definitely want to head back over and check those out too because I just love this and I think it's perfect for travel. I think it has every shade that you would need just right here in this one little compact. I'm actually going on vacation in a few weeks, so I will definitely be bringing this with me. And then also from Ulta, I picked up the new Essence Pure Nude Space Lighter. Now, if you guys have seen some of my previous videos about drugstore favorites and things like that, you know that the Essence Pure Nude highlighter, the original one, is one of my favorite highlighters of all time because of how subtle and natural it looks on the skin. It is a little bit of a deeper shade though, especially if you are pale like I am. It does technically work, but it doesn't show up quite as well as a lighter highlighter would. So I was really excited when I saw this. It actually looks white in the pan, but on the skin it actually gives a beautiful pinky, like rosy glow. It is stunning and I think it's perfect for my skin tone. It actually doesn't swatch all that well. When I first swatched it, I thought it looked a little bit powdery and just, it wasn't like really blending in with my skin so well. But when I put it on with a brush, it's beautiful. It's just like the original, but a lighter version. So if you love the original Pure Nude highlighter, I think you'll really enjoy this one as well because it isn't, again, it's not a super crazy glittery highlight. It just is very subtle and you just sort of look like you're glowing from within, which is what I always go for when it comes to highlighters. And then next up, I grabbed two of the new Morphe Blushing Babes blush trios. I got these at Ulta a few weeks back and I got the shades Pop of Peach, which is actually an Ulta.com exclusive. And then when I was in store, I picked up Pop of Coral. And they are both really, really beautiful. I think the formula on these is fantastic. And I can't believe they're only $12 because the packaging feels very high-end. They feel like some weight to them and they have a really nice big beautiful mirror inside. They're just super solid and I think they're amazing for $12, especially because some of the other blushes I'm going to show you, even like singles, are $12.99, which is kind of crazy. So I really am enjoying these. Let me just show you some swatches really quickly. So the first shade, Maker, is described online as a matte baked apricot. I don't actually think this is a matte shade. It has more of a satiny finish. The middle shade, Creator, is a matte papaya, and then the third shade, Influencer, is a deep shimmery nutmeg. Now this palette actually looks way lighter on the Ulta website than it does in person. When I first saw this, I was like, this looks so dark. I ended up buying it from the website thinking that it was going to be a lighter color palette for my skin tone. And as it is, I can wear this. I just have to use a really, really light hand. And then Pop of Coral is probably my favorite of the two. This one, the first shade Boss, is a matte melon color, and then the middle shade Fierce is a vibrant shimmering coral, and then the third shade Unapologetic is a matte burnt ginger. Unapologetic is a little bit of a deeper color again, but if I use a light hand, I'm good. I actually like to mix the two shades Boss and Fierce. They just give a really beautiful rosy glow to my cheeks. I absolutely love this one. So I think these are an amazing deal for $12. I definitely would not hesitate to pick these up. The only thing is I would recommend getting them in store if you can, if your local store has Morphe, because the shades on the website look nothing like what these palettes look like in real life. So if you can go and choose your colors in person, I think that way you'll avoid being surprised like I was. Actually, next time I go to Ulta, I think I'm going to try to pick up one of the cooler toned ones because I just really, really like these. And again, I think they're awesome for travel because you have a few different options in a really nice slim compact. And then next up are the new L'Oreal Paradise Enchanted Fruit Scented Blushes. So when I first saw these, I thought they were supposed to be peach scented. I guess that was kind of the rumor going around online. But when I got them home, I thought, you know, they don't really smell like peach to me. And on the website, they say that they're fruit scented. And there's a little picture of a plum on the front. So maybe they're supposed to be plum scented. I'm not really sure. But overall, I really do like these blushes. I think they blend really nicely on your cheeks. Also, they're not like a flat matte, but they're not shimmery either. So if you don't like shimmer on your cheeks, if you have textured cheeks, these are really, really nice and look natural on your skin. The only thing I will say is they're a bit more on the expensive side. They're 0.31 ounces for $12.99. So, you know, for $12 you can get one of these Morphe palettes, although they're pretty much very similar in size. This is actually 0.35 ounces. So these blushes in here are smaller because this is a total weight of 0.35. But if you'd rather have 3 different colors to play with, for the same price as just one, it's something to consider. But just for a single blush, it does hold quite a bit of product considering it's almost the same as this whole palette. So it is, I guess, a comparable price, but I guess it's just kind of personal preference whether you'd rather spend $12.99 and get one blush or spend the same amount and get 3. So anyway, let me show you some swatches of the shades really quickly. So first up we have the shade Bashful, which is a really beautiful light peachy nude, and then the next shade, Just Curious, is more of a deeper peach tone color. Fantastical is the third shade, and this is really the only one that has a little bit more pink in it. It's more like a pinky peach color. And then the last shade, Charming, is more of a bronzy peach. So overall, I think that these are really natural looking shades, and if you don't like bright pops of color like coral or a bright pink, they're very toned down and very subtle colors. So if you just like more of a natural cheek, I think these are really, really pretty. And then next up I have 2 products from Pixi Beauty to share with you. The first one is their new Glowy Gossamer Duos. These were actually sent to me in PR, and I was absolutely blown away by these when I first tried them. They're $18 each, which is a little bit steep, but they perform like a high-end highlighter. They're the smoothest highlighters I have ever tried in my life. They just glide on your skin so seamlessly. They just sort of melt in. They have no like chunkiness to them, no really thick glitter particles. They're just like the smoothest highlight. They're almost like a baked formula. They feel similar to like the Hourglass powders, how just so silky they are. So let me show you some swatches really quick. First up is the Subtle Sunrise one, and this one has a little bit more, I think, of a warm tone to it. So you have your really beautiful like golden champagne shade on one side, and then the other side is more of a really beautiful like deep peachy highlight. And then Delicate Dew is my favorite of the two. So in this one you're getting a really light frosty pink on one side, and then the other side is a really pretty like pinky champagne. It's absolutely gorgeous, and you can probably see just from the swatches like how smooth these are. They're incredible. So even though they're a little bit more on the pricey side of drugstore, I think because they perform like a high-end highlight, they are worth the price. And then last but not least is another product from Pixi that I actually found at Target this week, and it's their new Pixi Glow Cake. Now, this is, first of all, huge. So they're charging $28 for this. and I wanted to buy the two shades. There's this one, which is more of like a peachier, warmer one, and then there's a more pink, cool toned option. And that one had a little bit of a deeper bronzer in it, which is why I ended up going with this one. It looked a little bit lighter for my skin tone, but I couldn't buy two because I just did not want to spend $56 on two products. So I kind of wish that they had maybe made these a little bit smaller and a little bit more affordable, like maybe half the price. Unfortunately, they are really expensive. So I haven't really used this much yet. I used it once, so I can't really talk about it too much, but I wanted to include it in this video just because I got so many requests on Instagram when I first got this and I showed it on my Instagram stories. Everybody was like, please review it, please show swatches. So I at least just wanted to put some swatches out there and kind of give you a little bit of an idea of what it's like. So I think that this is very similar to the Kevyn Aucoin version. So I guess compared to that, it's still a lot cheaper. And actually, I think It Cosmetics has a very similar one to this as well, which I have. So it basically is just like sort of an ombre effect from a light highlight all the way to a bronzer, and you have sort of your blush tones in the middle. You can swirl them all together and just put them all on your cheek, which is actually what I did and what I prefer to do. I don't tend to use shimmery bronzers that often, so I prefer to just swirl my brush in here and then apply it to my cheeks, and I kind of don't need to really highlight because it's just a really nice glowy blush look. So first I'm going to show you swatches of just each shade individually. So you've got your really pale highlight, then you have sort of a really subtle like peachy blush, and then a deeper peachy blush, and then last but not least, you have your deeper bronzer shade. So that's what all the shades look like singly. Now I'll show you a swatch of what they look like all blended together. So all blended together, I think it looks absolutely beautiful. And like I said, that's the way that I used it, and I just felt like my cheeks were glowy without looking too shimmery or crazy. This isn't a super shiny highlight. I think the glowy Gossamers are definitely more intense than this one. So like I said, you can use them individually, but I'm just enjoying mixing them all together because I think it's just a quick, easy way to get a glowy cheek without spending time putting on blush and then putting on a highlight. I just do it all in one shot and it comes out looking really pretty and natural. So I'm excited to play with this a little bit more. Again, I just wanted to include it so that you could see some swatches and get a little bit more information about it. But it is definitely pricey for drugstore, so I'm curious to find out if you guys would pay $28 for this or not. Let me know in the comments. Alright guys, so those are the new cheek products I've been trying lately from the drugstore. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Also, let me know in the comments what you've tried already, or if there's anything in this video that you saw that you're planning to buy. I would love to hear about it. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.